Um, okay, hello, international partners. Um, and hello, international and 48% of the Americans who might hear this. I'm still in the ISIS compound. Yeah, I'm basically being held hostage in the city. The police drive by, whoop, whoop, whoop. Oh, they're such pigs. I never talked like that as uh, anarchist as I was. I used to be afraid of police. And then about age 24, 25, I got over my fear of police. I wasn't really scared, but I was scared, and I'll talk about it later why. It was just, I was basically an orphan. Cool. Basically is definite, yeah. And so, you know, with my punk rock anarchist crowd, the cops in Seattle didn't exactly like punks in the early 90s. No. But I wasn't at the same time known by the cops. No. I didn't do hard drugs. I wasn't selling my body. I've never done anything like that in my life, okay? I did get into hard drugs for 2 years. Everybody in the whole world knows that story. I'm not proud of it, but it's part of what happened in the last 7 years. I I could not avoid it. I had to explain to a certain degree my background, and it came up. And so I hope that I helped other people, because I did fall into that crap for a couple years. And I got out of it, and I never, ever, ever touched the crap again. But I was afraid of cops going back into my youth in Seattle. Until I was about 24. I wasn't afraid, like, just get my point, because I'm still in this fucking terror cell with cops driving by, and that's what I'm talking about. And I never used the word pigs, not even then. I was too much around, like, the original concept of punk rock anarchism. My age is where I was in timeline history. And by 1992, when Bill Clinton signed up with Saudi Arabia to just thrash and trash and hand over our country, which is what he did, and it's all proven now, they went after that underground anarcho scene. They removed the bookstores, they removed the venues, they removed the record labels, they did everything they could. And the punk rock, like, older ones said they were going to do that. Like Jello Biafra, they got their hands on Jello Biafra. Jello Biafra, if you hear this, I know they've got you. But I believe you'll come out of it, whatever they did. They've got you too. They've got everybody just, I know. Basically, look at me. But they couldn't do to me what they did to, like, Jello Biafra, because he would be a lot more vocal if he could be. But there was a whole entire society of us was thriving, going all the way to Europe and all over the West, and they just started crushing it and crushing it. You can't really crush and kill the original, where it birthed from, which is England, the United Kingdom. I wasn't surprised when I was in the United Kingdom that the Bobbies tried to literally kill me, and they did, and I'll never forget not 1 second of that horrible night. So whenever I get a chance to tell human beings in real life, I'll definitely let them know what happened that night. I'll not forget 1 second of that shit. Not 1 second of it. Anyway, so I wasn't surprised there's the English Bobbies trying to kill me. I wasn't surprised when I was there. Scotland Yard was following around Crass. So I grew up like that, okay, very, very influenced. And back in the late 80s, in my age group, they had all ages concerts. It was a constant. And the all ages concerts had all sorts of anarchist, punk rock, political fanfare there. You could get pamphlets, booklets, stickers, you name it, they would do it. And they made sure of it. And there was constant all ages concerts. I just remember I could go to so many of those as this kid with no mom, no dad. I just went to those. I didn't need money. I didn't have to fit in with these kids that had these things. I found my home. I found my place. And they quickly crushed that. They went right after that. The bookstores, the venues, the record labels all started becoming crushed once Bill Clinton took office, 1992. It's never been the same again. But you can't kill us. We're still alive, and so am I. It was God's will and God's design that these scumbags put an anarchist punk chick in a terrorist cell. Like, that was real geniuses at work. And it was God's will and God's design that I lived through these chemical gases, which I'm forbidden from talking about. I just want everyone to know there's something out there. Definitely there is, okay? For all those atheists, there's definitely something out there. I know you're with me, all the atheists. I don't hate you. I think I've, in some ways, proven a lot of your theories are correct, right? Yeah, there's definitely something out there. And no, you're right, atheist. Jesus doesn't float down in sandals from clouds. No, you're correct. This is laughable. There's no Jesus coming from clouds and sandals to save the world. No, I agree. It's not quite that simple. Okay, so I'm still in this terror cell, and the cops are still driving by when there's events and things happening in here, and they are such creeps, and they do their whoop, whoop, whoop. They're just going after anybody. The cops basically, in my terms, and this is what I've said ever since I realized they were killing women in here, they're pimps, and they run drugs. Yep. And then they come piling to my door, arresting me every time I talk about them. It's really fucking horrifying to be in this city. And it metastasized. Law enforcement metastasized. Once I came here and was trapped, I watched it in my country's history. It metastasized, and there's like not a lot of very good precincts anymore. The ones that have remained just regular police precincts that aren't trying to attack the United States sovereign territory, because that's flat out what they're doing, are actually good military. They're just wearing precinct uniforms. And you're going to have to ask the generals who are leading the war, not me, how that exactly works. But it's clear as day. I'm not going to sit here and lie to people who click my account for any sort of information, because everybody's very clear on the fact that there is no real information that you can obtain. No. And I know that. I've known that for 7 years. They destroyed my life in order to shut me up. What I didn't appreciate was this complete abject poverty. No, I didn't appreciate that. But I've managed to survive it, and I didn't appreciate chemical gases. Like I've said, that really, really pissed me off. The rest of it is just all horrors of war. That's all I see it as. But to my international viewers, so that's a little bit of my background, okay? I come from this. That's how I started to do this child development. 13 years old, and I'm developing as a young person into an adult. My identity, it's permanent. It's been permeated. That's who I am. You can't change it or budget. And I started to have these thoughts. I guess they were God thoughts, G-O-D thoughts, God thoughts. Like in my 30s, I thought if I ever came into money, I would start a center for lesbians. I started having these, just acutely aware of a conscious thought of why, and I would think, why am I thinking that? I don't think I'm going to come into a lot of money like that. But it turns out I am. So I must have known somehow. And I haven't changed a bit. So I've been thinking acutely and consciously of doing something like that since my 30s. And it turns out I'm actually going to do it. So if for my international partners, this will give you some information, because you can't talk to me. I know no one can. I know that. They have me locked in the back of the compound, and it's just fucking terrible. I know that. You know that. The whole world knows this. So since you can't call me up and ask me what's going on with the foundation, you're gonna get out and have this money. Why are you starting one for gays? Because some of the international people are like, oh my God, gays are everyone's so afraid of gays. In Africa they're afraid of gays. People are just so afraid of gays. Well, we're not in Africa. We're American. I'm American. Okay, it's my country that gets freaking hit with missiles, but we're still here. There's 48% of the Americans are still here, and not everything's going to change. And so that's why, and there's your answer. I don't mean to be mean. I'm not trying to be rude, but I'm an American, and so are all the rest of us. And we're not afraid of gays here. And just because we have a new constitution and essentially a new government, which we need, I'm thrilled. I'm very happy about that, but it doesn't mean everything's just different. If it kept going on course with the white supremacists, then there'd be no rights. They'd take the rights away for everyone. They started taking it away for the black and brown, and the next thing that would be taken away is all these rights for LGBT or whatever they call it. Those would be next. All these rights would be stripped and gone. And I'm not talking about any other countries, okay? I'm talking about America. And we're all, as allied forces, structuring our government. So I just wanted, since no one can call me, to let you all have some idea within 14 minutes of what exactly I'm typing. So this goes back to my 30s. I had these acute conscious, God thoughts. I was like, why am I thinking that? But then I would just pass it off. But it was enough of it where I can remember like walking in times I thought this, like, I'll tell you later when I can talk to some of you. So here it is, it's become reality. I'm just waiting now for the broker and all the rest. Exactly. And I know not to spend the treasury money, and I know that. There's no scandal. I'm not a scandal. I'm so burnt out with scandals. Those people that live with scandals are being removed from power. So I'm not trying to carry on the scandal. I'm very ashamed of what America has made themselves to be on a world stage. We've become thieves. We steal, we kill, we murder, we do homicide. We're on the world stage as cannibals. I'm a witness to all that, and then they made the world a witness. I talk funny because I'm trapped in this compound, so bear with me. They made the world bear witness on a world stage. They're just thievery, lying, just scandalous, repulsive behavior. And then they try with their media and all their cameras to say, no, we're the big guys, we're the good guys, we're in control. And they're freaking men in the Pentagon are wearing wigs and freaking lipstick, and they'll still tell you, we're in control. No, we're not. And that's why essentially a new government is in place, and I can't wait. But so this money that I accrue, the money that I accrue, some of it's treasury money, I'm aware of that, okay? But the first thing I am doing on my own, as I sit in my hotel room, is starting a foundation for gay kids. It's not going to change. And with that, learning experience is going to be a big one. I can branch it, grow it, launch it off to other countries. It could be any sort of foundation. After I'm done with my first foundation. Excuse me for coughing on the camera phone. I don't plan to do gay kid foundations all over the world, okay? I'm not a moron. But in here, in my country, that's the first one, and my name's on it. And you'll understand, to all my partners overseas, you'll totally get it. And just in a matter of a couple of years to be like, that was a God thought. God told her to do that. Something's out there, man. So you'll see what I mean. Okay, so that's the first one. And any other foundation, well, there's a foundation and nonprofits come from it. So any other nonprofits that can be about anything. But I'm going to get my hands in the mix with my first one, and it's for gay kids, but it's geared at women, young girls. And just to say this for my international partners, because I'm not married and I've been single this whole time you've ever known me, I'm heterosexual. And I'm not saying this to prove it or I'm in some sort of closet. No, I'm actually straight. I'm actually straight. So I'm not going to keep repeating it because I have nothing to prove. Okay? I have nothing to prove. At this point in my life, I know what I am. All right? Thank you very much. So having said that, the fact that I am a straightie, one of those squares that gets married and does mediocrity, you know, having said that, the fact that my first nonprofit I ever churned out was for lesbians, especially lesbians. These are the outcasts of the planet. And women are just outright attacked in my country, and enough is enough. It was so bad that we get missiles all over craters and 10-mile holes in the ground. It was so bad. So just let me do what I'm doing. It's my first nonprofit through my foundation. It's going to be that. No one can stop me. All right. And I am not going to prove my sexuality beyond that. This is so unprofessional and sick. All right. So along with this foundation comes a lot of, I believe, experience. I'm going to gain experience, like actual working experience, professional working experience that I can use if I can please have that job in finance for the government. Because this is my baby. The foundation is my baby. It's my income, my revenue. It's not the government treasury, but I am going to unavoidably have a great amount of experience here in programs, social contracts, setting up government, this and that. I plead with the higher ups that once I have the proper classes I've taken so I can even communicate with the higher ups, because I can't right now. I can't. There's no way they can even talk to me about anything until I take Econ 1 and Econ 2. I have to take it. There's no discussion. But that's only like, 6 to 9 months, to take these two courses. So, and then with my experience, professional hands-on, starting foundation here, escrows, all of it, I definitely could be a big use for all of you. And I know it. I'm rambling now. Oh, wow. I went way past 13 minutes. You know what? Sometimes you have to. So since I'm at 18 minutes, I'm going to close with the 20-minute video. The isolation in here is living hell. The DB stenches are living hell. And I'm not allowed to talk about anything else. But because of what they did to me and what they did to all of you and everyone else, but I'm just saying legally on paper, what they did to me is a huge, what's the word? Oh, never mind. A huge part, a huge chunk of my escrow and finances, whatever words. I can't think of words anymore. This is what I'm talking about, what they did to my personal income. And I'm going to have so much of it, I couldn't possibly live with myself if I didn't start a foundation. How could I possibly go and buy a whole bunch of clothes at Nordstrom's and repeat exactly what got us a 10-mile hole in the ground from a missile? Like I never learned. The last 7 years didn't teach me anything. It taught me a lot. Goodbye.